Reclusive Slowbro, and today I have a deck list for you for my Mega Sceptile Mega Heracross deck. Now this deck isn't exactly the most meta of decks. Mega Heracross isn't exactly the best Mega, but it is a rather fun deck. I have to say, it's one of my favorites. Maybe because of Heracross, but I mean, I don't know. I really do like it though. But alright, let's get into it. 2 Shaman. We have a 3/3 line of Mega Heracross. Now, if you're not aware of Mega Heracross's attack, Big Bang Horn, 180, and for every damage counter onto this Pokemon, it does that much more damage less. So 10 damage for every damage counter you have onto you. So let's say if you're down 100 HP to 120, you will go from 180 damage to 80 damage. Now, at that point, it becomes a little more powerful, and more so just a bench warmer. So you really have to play this deck with caution, but that's also why Mega Sceptile is in here with a Jagged Saber, not because of the damage or because it can amplify or accelerate other Pokemon with energy, but because of the healing factor on this attack. So as you can see, basically healing a Mega Heracross if it has any damage counters on already, it helps out a lot, not only with the acceleration, but for the HP and then therefore the damage potential. It is a rather cool combo. Of course, the only problem I have with it is the amount of energies that it requires, and I guess in situations where you need energies into your hand to actually use the Jagged Saber properly, it does make it a little more difficult, and yeah, therefore a little slower, but essentially just have energies in your hands if you ever tend to use Mega Sceptile's attacks, and that's basically it. Just attack with this, get energies onto Mega Heracross, and then perform Big Bang Horn whenever necessary, of course. Then we have, of course, I said of course quite a lot of times, Heracross EX, 3 Heracross EX. With the Guard Press attack, during your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon is reduced by 20, so that's pretty good if you have any, I guess if you don't have 3 energies onto it and you just want to reduce more damage. You are running 2 Hard Charms actually, for Heracross specifically and Heracross only. I mean, you can really put it on here if you'd like, if you didn't evolve using your Spirit Link. I wouldn't advise that necessarily, but it does help, I guess, in certain rare cases. Okay, now Giga Power, 80 plus damage, and you may do 40 more damage, but with the drawback of doing 20 damage to yourself. So use this sparingly, I guess, in matchups when you're facing, let's say, Giratina or anything that is anti-evolution. I'm not sure if there is anything other than Giratina that is anti-evolution, but yeah. I would recommend definitely using this, even if you're not going to be using Mega Heracross as an attacker. This actually does pretty well on its own, just in case you're not able to Mega Evolve, or you don't want to have to pass the turn under like a risky situation. And then we have 3 Sceptile. Sleep Poison, flip a coin if heads, your opponent is now asleep and poison. That's quite cool, and very, very, I guess you could say, risky to play if you ever do intend to use this attack. So it does only require 1 energy, so if you don't have 2 of them onto it already, you may as well risk it for the damage and, of course, the chance for getting sleep and poison, which is pretty cool. I've had a few occasions where this attack has actually helped me out quite a bit. Now, Unseen Claw is probably an attack you're not going to be using quite often in this deck, mainly because this attack requires you to have, well, it doesn't really require you to have, but if you want higher damage, it requires you to have a special effect on the opponent's active Pokemon. So for this deck, we don't really have any like lasers or anything like that, or Ariados to actually put a special condition onto the active Pokemon. So essentially, you'll be having to rely on getting heads and sleep poison, and that's not exactly what this deck is about. So Unseen Claw is helpful in the sense that if you want to do 60 damage and you can evolve this in that certain turn, I mean, by all means, go for it. But you're not going to be getting much value out of it. But it's still pretty cool to have in there, of course. Then we have 1 Hoopa, which is new to Ancient Origins, as well as Sceptile and Mega Sceptile EX. With the Scoundrel Ring ability, which is essentially the only reason it is in this deck. You're not really going to be using its sack. But the ability lets you play this, well, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 EX cards, excluding any Hoopas, but we're not running any other Hoopas aside from this one, so yeah. It's very helpful. If you ever really need EXs like, let's say, Heracross, Mega Heracross, or basically most of the, if not, wait, yeah, all of the Pokemon in this deck. Because every single Pokemon in this deck is, in fact, an EX. So, this helps out quite a bit, especially in situations where you have the giant plant forest, or the forest of giant plants. I keep forgetting its name, I keep calling it weird things. But yeah, it is very helpful in that sense. Now we have one computer search, one energy recycler, what lets you shuffle 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. It's quite handy in terms of utility. I recommend this one, especially since you're running a bunch of basic energies with no special energies. Definitely, I wouldn't say a must, but I mean it helps out a lot, trust me. One energy retrieval, which actually helps out the Mega Sceptile's Jagged Saber attack. It's quite useful. Definitely does synergize with it pretty well, so I guess at most times, if not a lot of times, try to make sure you get this if you have too many energies into your discard pile, especially when you have a Mega Sceptile up and ready to attack. Then we have one Enhanced Hammer, one Sacred Ash, 2 switches, 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Via Seeker, 1 Chorus, 1 Hex Maniac. What Hex Maniac does is basically it doesn't allow your opponent to play abilities, and yourself from the moment you play this card for a single turn. So this can be quite helpful in the sense that if you have an opponent using, like, let's say Giratina, or if you know they're going to use Shamans, like let's say Mega Rayquaza or Rayman, as I like to call it, then yeah, they will not be able to use their abilities until the end of their turn. And there's no way they can counter this. If this thing is played from your position, there's no way of countering it. So, from that point, yeah, it's pretty cool in that sense. I do like running Hex Maniacs in this deck. Primarily, I guess, because of Safeguarders, but before Safeguarders, of course, Rotate and Giratina, so that helps out quite a bit. Now we have one Lysander, 4 N, 4 Juniper, 4 Force a Giant Plants, which this card is pretty handy. It's really handy, especially for this deck. What it lets you do is each player's grass Pokemon can evolve during his or her first turn, or the turn he/she plays the card. So yeah, you can basically put down Mega Heracross, and if you have the Mega Heracross in your deck, or your hand, or a Sceptile and a Mega Sceptile in your hand, you may evolve them instantly. Of course, that doesn't bypass the passing your turn thing unless you have a Spirit Link, which obviously is why we have the Spirit Links in here. But yeah, it is pretty cool. I like that. So essentially that's what this is in here for, and we're not really running any other stadiums aside from this one. I was thinking about putting perhaps, what's it called? Shrine of Memories, yeah. Shrine of Memories. Shrine of Memories would also work pretty well in this. If you ever intend to add more stadiums, if you don't really want to run four of these, you could, let's say, run 3-1 or 2-2 stadiums, but to me, getting the Force of Giant Plants as soon as possible is necessary. But yeah, and then we have 2 Hard Charms, 3 Sceptile Spirit Links, and 10 basic Grass Energies. So yeah, pretty helpful. Pretty cool stuff. I would say the only real problem with this deck is obviously the energy acceleration, or the energy usage. You have to make sure you have most grass energies into your hand at the times, if you intend to utilize them correctly anyway. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a really short but cool deck list, I suppose you can say. But yeah, I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. I think Worlds is coming on, so probably not going to be streaming, but I will be hosting it. And if you would like, you can join into the chat and so on and so forth, and just talk to everyone if everyone is in here. I'm not too sure whether or not I will be doing that, but if there are enough people along, why not? Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.